sign that something was wrong was the day Dayo knew things about Temi that she had never told him. Not small things, big things. He knew her favorite color was burnt orange. Not red, not orange, burnt orange specifically. The shade she had mentioned exactly once in an Instagram story 8 months before they even started talking. He knew she hated elevators and always took the stairs, something she had joked about briefly in a reel that had maybe 2,000 views. He knew her mother's nickname, Mama T, something Temi had mentioned in passing during a live section she had done at midnight when barely 500 people were watching. Temi had thought it was romantic. She told her sister Kemi, "This man actually pays attention. He listens. Do you know how rare that is?" Kemi had said, just nothing more. Temi should have listened to that. Let's go back to the beginning. Temi was 26 years old, a lifestyle influencer based in Lagos. Not the biggest name on the internet, but big enough. 78,000 followers on Instagram, growing every week. Brands were starting to notice her. Small deals here and there. A skincare brand, a fashion house in Lekki, a free delivery company that sent her free meals every Friday in exchange for posts. Her content was simple. Her life, her outfits, her apartment in Yaba that she had decorated herself on a budget and made look like something from a Pinterest board. Her solo dinner dates, her morning routines, her honest, unfiltered thoughts about being a young woman in Lagos trying to figure out life. People loved her because she felt real, not performative, not trying too hard, just Temi, living her life and letting people watch. She was single, loudly, unbothered single. She talked about it openly. "I'm not looking. When it comes, it comes." That's what she always said. And when Dayo's message arrived in her DM, it wasn't the first DM she had ever received from a man. It wasn't even the most impressive opening line she had seen. It was simple, almost too simple. "I've been watching your content for a while. You seem like someone who actually thinks. That's rare. I just wanted to say that." That was it. No, "You're beautiful. No, can we be friends?" No long paragraph about how she had changed his life. Just that. Temi had read it twice. Then she put her phone down and picked it up again and read it the third time. She replied, "Thank you. That actually means something." He replied immediately like he had been waiting. That was how it started. Dayo's profile was clean, not flashy but comfortable. A few photos of himself, well dressed, not overdressed. A shot at what looked like a business dinner. Another at a resort somewhere that could have been Ilesha or Epe. A photo with 2 other men who looked like the kind of people who talked about investment over drinks. No relationship photos, no woman in sight, no children. His bio said simply, "building things," with a British flag. He was based in London. A small detail she had noticed but not thought too deeply about. Then he had scrolled through his page for maybe 3 minutes before going back to his message. She wasn't deeply interested, just curious. But curiosity in the wrong direction has a way of becoming something else entirely. The conversation started light, easy, the kind of back and forth that doesn't feel like anything serious is happening because it feels too natural to be deliberate. He asked questions, real questions, not "What's your favorite color?" Surface questions. Deep ones, the kind that make you feel like someone is genuinely trying to know you. What does a day look like for you when nobody's watching? Not content, not performance, just you. Temi had stared at that message for a moment. Nobody had ever asked her that before. Not like that. She answered honestly, told him about her mornings, how she liked to sit with her coffee before picking up her phone, how she sometimes drove to the beach alone just to think, how behind the curated apartments and the carefully lit photos was a girl who still wasn't sure she was doing any of this right. He listened, always listened, and when he responded, it was never generic, never copy and paste. He responded to the specific thing she said, like he had turned it over in his mind before replying. "You are more self-aware than you let people say," he told her once. "Why do you hide that?" She hadn't had an answer. He made her feel understood in a way that is difficult to explain to someone who hasn't experienced it. It wasn't about grand gestures. It was about consistency, about showing up every day in small, deliberate ways that slowly convinced her that this was real. He remembered everything. Everything. The name of the brand that had disappointed her 6 months before they started talking. The friend she had mentioned once who had betrayed her trust. The neighborhood she had grown up in. The dream she had almost given up on before the page started growing. He filed it all away. Used it exactly the right moment. That brand that ghosted you last year, you have outgrown them anyway. Look at where you are now. The friend who sold your story to that blog, she was never your person. Real people don't do that. He positioned himself as the person who truly saw her. In a world where Temi performed for thousands of people daily, Dio made her feel like someone was finally watching just her, not her content, her. That is a dangerous thing to make someone feel. Especially someone who had been performing for so long that the line between the real self and the public self has started to blur. Temi didn't stand a chance. Not really. The first few weeks were just messages. He was funny. Not trying to be funny, naturally funny. The kind of person who could make an observation about something completely ordinary and make you laugh out loud alone in your room. He was also thoughtful. He remembered things. If she mentioned offhand she had a brand meeting the next day, he would message the next morning off. "Good luck with that meeting. You've got it." Small things. Consistent things. Then the message became calls. The first call lasted 45 minutes. He talked about Lagos, about content creation, about his work, which he described vaguely as business development, about her dreams, about the kind of life they both wanted. It was 5 hours behind Lagos time. It means their calls happened in those quiet hours when guards come down and people say things they wouldn't say in daylight. When she hung up, she would sit in her room for a moment just smiling at her phone. She hadn't felt that way in a long time. By the second month, they were talking every day. Long calls that started in the evening and somehow stretched to 1 a.m. her time. Video calls where they just sit together doing their own things. Him working on his laptop somewhere in London. Her editing content in her Yaba apartment. Comfortable silence between two people who had stopped needing to fill every gap with words. He sent her food sometimes, not cooked food. He would find out what restaurant she had been wanting to try, call ahead from London, and have it delivered with a note. The note was always simple. Eat. You forget to eat when you're working. The fact that he could organize food delivery from another country entirely made it feel even more intentional, even more romantic. Her followers started noticing something. She seemed lighter, happier. She was smiling more in her content. Her energy was different. Comments started coming in. Temi is glowing. Who is he? Something is happening with this girl. She looks loved. Temi would just smile and say nothing. She was private about this. Whatever this was, she didn't want to jinx it. By the 3rd month, she was in love. She hadn't said it out loud yet, not even to her sister Kenny, but it was there. That quiet, certain feeling that sits in your chest and refuses to move. Dio had become the first person she wanted to talk to in the morning and the last voice she wanted to hear at night. He had become the person she thought about when something funny happened, when something sad happened, when something confusing happened. He had become her person without her even realizing it. That was when the video calls changed. It started innocently enough. She had been getting ready for an event one evening, doing her makeup on camera with him watching because they were in the middle of a conversation and she didn't want to hang up. "You look beautiful," he said. "I'm literally half made up." She laughed. Still beautiful. She had felt her face warm. She turned the camera slightly, showing more of herself in the mirror. Not deliberately, just naturally. The way you do when someone makes you feel good about yourself. and your body starts feeling like something to hide. He hadn't made a big deal of it, just smiled, changed the subject. They kept talking, but something had shifted. From the following weeks, the video calls became more intimate. Not immediately, gradually. The way things always happen. One small step, then another, then another. She started taking calls in her room instead of her sitting room. She started being less careful about what she wore on camera, a towel after a shower, a bra and shorts while she moisturized. Things that felt comfortable, natural, private. He never asked, he never pushed, he just received. Quietly, warmly, like it was the most normal thing in the world. And Temi, who was in love and felt safe and trusted this man completely, never once thought to question it. She didn't know he was recording everything, every single thing. 4 months in, Dio said he wanted her to meet his family. Temi had been genuinely surprised. They hadn't even officially defined what they were. No, will you be my girlfriend? No formal conversation about exclusivity. Just this deep, comfortable intimacy that had grown between them organically. Meet your family? She repeated. I'm serious about you, Temi. I want them to know you. I'm flying in next month. I want to see you properly. But first, I want my family to meet you. She had called her sister Kemi immediately after. He wants me to meet his family, and he's coming to Lagos. Kemi had been quiet for a moment. Have you met him in person yet? We have been talking every day for 4 months, Kemi. That's not what I asked. Kemi had paused. No, not yet. He's been in London, but he's real. I've seen him on video. He's not a catfish. Meeting someone on video and meeting them in person are two different things. And meeting a man is different from meeting his family. That's a big step, Temi. You are overthinking it. Maybe. Just be careful. Temi had smiled and changed the subject. She was tired of being careful. Careful had kept her alone for 2 years. She was ready for something real. The meeting was in his family house in Bagada, a big comfortable compound, the kind that have been there for decades and carried the comfortable permanence of old Lagos money. Not showy, just solid. His mother was warm, almost immediately warm, the kind of warmth that envelopes you before you have even sat down. Tell me, we know you already. We follow your pick. This one here, she pointed at Dio's younger brother, Sheung. He's your biggest fan in this house. Sheung had laughed. Auntie Temi, I showed them your page myself. The whole family had laughed. Temi had laughed too. She had felt immediately at ease, like she had known these people before. Ayo had sat beside her the entire time, his hand occasionally finding hers, calm, confident, like a man who knew exactly what he was doing. This was the first time she was seeing him in person. 4 months of calls and video chats and late nights and food deliveries from London. And now, here he was, real, solid, exactly as he had presented himself. Or so she thought. He had driven her home that evening. She was feeling full, happy, like something beautiful was finally beginning. She didn't know she was sitting in the middle of a performance. Every single person in that room had known about Ronke. Ronke was Dio's wife. They had been married for 6 years. They had 2 children, a boy of 4 and a girl of 2. They lived together in London. The same London Dio had been calling Temi from every night. Ronke was also quietly a fan of Temi's page. She had been following her for almost a year. She had liked her content, found her relatable, had even sent her a DM once, months ago saying, "Your apartment inspo chained to my whole living room. Thank you." Temi had replied with a heart emoji. Neither of them had known then what they would mean to each other later. The way Ronke found out was not dramatic. It was a Tuesday evening in London. Dal had left his phone on the kitchen counter while he went to shower. Ronke had been passing by when the screen lit up. A video notification from a folder. She wouldn't have touched it. She wasn't the type to go through her husband's phone. She had always believed that searching for something means you are prepared to find it. And she wasn't sure she was prepared. But the preview was already visible on the screen before she could look away. She stood there for a long moment, her hand on the kitchen counter, her eyes on the phone. Then she picked it up. What she found was not one video. It was a folder, organized, dated, going back 4 months. She sat down on the kitchen floor because her legs stopped working. She recognized them immediately. She had seen her face enough times on her own phone screen while watching her content. She sat on that kitchen floor for a long time. When Dayo came out of the shower and found her there, phone in hand, he didn't say anything for a moment. Then he said, "Ronke, don't." Her voice was very quiet. Just don't. That night, after Dayo had eventually fallen into an uneasy sleep, Ronke sat in the sitting room with her phone. She opened Instagram. She found Temi's page. She sat there looking at it for a long time. At this girl, this young, bright, genuinely warm girl in Lagos who had no idea what she had walked into, who had met his family, who had sat in that Bagada compound with people who knew everything and said nothing. Then she opened the DM and started typing. "Hi Temi, my name is Ronke. I'm Dayo's wife. I know this message will shock you, but I need you to know the truth, and I think you deserve to know it." She attached something. No screenshots, no videos, just words. Then she pressed send and put the phone face down on the table. Temi saw the message the next morning. She almost scrolled past it. She got a lot of DMs, but the name Dayo stopped her finger mid-scroll. She read it once. Then she put her phone face down on her bed and stared at the POP. Then she picked it up and read it again. Her hands were shaking slightly by the third time she read it. She called Dayo immediately. The phone rang and rang and rang. He didn't pick up. She called again. Same thing. She sent a message. "Dayo, please call me. It's urgent." She watched the 2 ticks. They turned blue. He had seen it. He didn't call. She called her sister Kemi instead. "Come. Please just come." Her sister Kemi arrived within the hour. She sat on Temi's bed and read Ronke's message without saying a word. Then she put the phone down carefully. "How long has they been married?" Temi asked. 6 years, Temi said. Her voice sounded strange to her own ears. Flat, hollow, 2 children in London. He has been calling me from the same house where his wife and children live. Kemi closed her eyes briefly. And his family, the meeting in Bagada, they all knew. Temi's voice cracked slightly on the last word. His mother, his brothers, they all knew he had a wife and children in London, and they sat there and smiled at me and welcomed me like I was. She stopped. Kemi reached over and held her hand. Didn't say anything. Sometimes there is nothing useful to say. Temi replied to Ronke that afternoon. She took her time writing it, deleted it 3 times, started again. "Ronke, I don't have the words to tell you how sorry I am. Not sorry in the way people say it when they are caught. Sorry because I genuinely had no idea. He never mentioned you, never mentioned children. His family welcomed me and said nothing. I was lied to completely. I want you to know that I would never knowingly be involved with a married man. Never. I'm so sorry this happened to you. You didn't deserve this." Ronke replied hours later. "I believe you. I could tell from everything I saw that you didn't know. That's why I reached out to you directly instead of making noise. You are not my enemy. He is." Temi had cried reading that. This woman, this wife sitting in London with 2 small children, who had every reason to be angry at her, had chosen clarity over chaos. Dayo never called, never sent a message, never reached out to explain or apologize or say anything at all. He just disappeared completely, blocked her on every platform like she had never existed. Like 4 months of daily conversations and video calls from London and "I'm flying in to see you" had been nothing. Because to him, it had been nothing. 2 weeks after everything collapsed, Temi posted a video. She sat in front of her camera in Yaba apartment. No heavy makeup, no ring light, no carefully chosen outfit, just her face and her voice and whatever she needed to say. I'm not going to tell you his name, she said, not because he deserves protection, but because his wife is innocent and she had already been through enough. And I refuse to add to her pain. But I need to talk about what happened to me because I think it has happened to other people. I think it's happening right now to someone watching this. She talked for 11 minutes about the DMs, about the months of calls from London, about the food deliveries organized from another country to make her feel chosen, about the family meeting in Bagada where everyone smiled and welcomed her, knowing everything, about the recording she had only found out about through his wife, about the silence after. She didn't cry. Her voice was steady throughout. The most frightening thing wasn't the lie, she said near the end. The most frightening thing was how safe I felt, how completely I trusted him, how carefully he built that trust over months from London. While his wife was in the next room, that wasn't accidental. That was a plan. She paused. I didn't know what he intended to do with those recordings. Maybe I will never know, but I know they exist. And I know I have to live with that. Another pause. I am telling you this because I almost didn't. Because shame is the first thing you feel when something like this happens. Like somehow you should have known. Like you were stupid. Like I wasn't stupid, I was trusting. And someone deliberately took advantage of that. She ended the video call simply, just be careful who you let in. Even through a screen. The video got 400,000 views in 48 hours. Her followers jumped from 78,000 to 230,000 in 1 week. Brands that had been considering her suddenly confirmed deals. Her inbox was flooded with messages from women who had been through something similar. Some exactly the same. Same pattern, different man, different city, different country. But the message that stayed with her longest was a short one. No long explanation, just 4 words. It was from Ronke. Thank you for this. Daya never resurfaced publicly. His page went private the day Temi's video went up. His family's social media went quiet. What his plan had been with those recordings, nobody ever confirmed officially. Some people speculated in the comments. Blackmail, control, something darker. Temi chose not to speculate publicly. I don't know his plans, she said in a follow-up video. And honestly, I have stopped trying to understand the minds of people who operate like that. You can't apply normal logic to it. Ronke, from what Temi knew through their brief exchange, had made her own decision about her marriage quietly and privately. That was her story to tell or not tell. Temi respected that completely. 3 weeks after she posted the video, a message came from a number she didn't recognize. She almost didn't open it, but something made her. It was 2 lines. It's Tayo. Send me your account details. I want to make things right. No apology, no explanation, no mention of Ronke, no mention of recordings, no acknowledgement of anything. Just that. She stared at the message for a long time. He wasn't trying to make anything right. You don't make things right with a bank transfer and no words. He was trying to buy her silence, to close a chapter he was terrified she would reopen. The recordings. That's what this was about. His plan, whatever it had been, had collapsed the moment Ronke found that folder. And now, he was trying the only other thing he knew. Money, control through a different method. He didn't reply. She screenshotted it, saved it, then she blocked the number. Something about blocking him felt different from how he had blocked her. He had blocked her to erase her. She blocked him to close the door she was done standing in front of. It didn't feel like the same thing at all. Months later, a journalist doing a piece on digital safety for women asked me what she would tell her younger self, knowing what she knew now. She thought about it for a moment. I wouldn't tell her not to trust, she said finally, because the problem wasn't that she trusted. The problem was his, entirely his, she paused. But I would tell her to notice the The journalist looked confused. The Temi smiled slightly. When someone who loves you goes quiet about something, when they don't cheer loudly with everyone else, when they just say and nothing more, she looked directly at the camera. Listen to the For more interesting stories like this, please do well to like, leave a comment, and please share this video with a loved one. Meanwhile, besties, have you ever experienced this? Does this story sound familiar? Please share your thoughts and comments in the comment section. And for more interesting stories like this, please do well to subscribe, besties. Subscription is free. And until I bring another interesting story your way, for now, bye besties!